Hello, welcome to My Apple Juice. What is My Apple Juice? We are a community apple pressing service. If you think of the community olive press around the Mediterranean where people take their olives and get their olive oil back, we are the apple equivalent. We allow people to do is to bring their apples to us, literally a bucket to a ton. There's no minimum, no maximum. We wash, pulp, press, bottle the juice, pasteurize it so it lasts for a year, 18 months, and then we print their house name on the label. My Apple Juice started in 2009, really quite modestly. Having been cajoled by my daughter, I went to the village where we lived and I gathered up apples. And people just had no idea of the concept. I didn't even really understand the concept. And I brought the apples back, and that very first year I purloined the family Magimix. I cut each apple up into a quarter, push it through the Magimix, and then I borrowed from somebody else a little press, a little wind me down press. And over the course of 6 weeks, we did 1.5 tons, which made 1,000 bottles. 1.5 tons apples, each one cut up into quarters. Anyway, so I got over that. So our best year was 2 years ago. That was 10th year, where we made 70,000 bottles for people from fruit that would otherwise have gone to waste. And that meant 105 tons of fruit didn't go to waste.
Well, I discovered My Apple Juice last year, and literally we had our last bottle last Sunday. So we got about 200 bottles off our trees, and although I think we could probably get even more bottles this year, I decided to eat some instead of just drink them. It's a fantastic service, and you know, I feel very pleased now to have a long line of soft drink to come.
And people are coming crazy distances to us, 50 miles. Pareto's law means 80% come within 15 miles, but the rest come up to 50, 60 miles. So we've got people come from Shaftesbury to Hungerford, from Romsey, from Southampton, from Croydon, into Herefordshire and across from Cardiff. We even have a couple who had a house in Normandy, and when they went over for a weekend, they brought the apples back to us to press for their own apple juice. Another couple every autumn went and visited their daughter in Bournemouth. They live in Glasgow. So they would come down, drive down on the Monday, drop the apples with us, go and spend the week with their daughter, come back, pick up the bottles and go back to Glasgow. It's fantastic. So the customers who bring apples to us vary hugely in terms of, you can have somebody who's got a small tree in the garden, 12 bottles. So you have houses of a certain size, you have houses who've got walled gardens, who bring us a Land Rover or a Range Rover full of fruit, and they'll take 500 bottles away. So we have individuals of varying sizes. We also do a lot of work with schools, charities, churches, community groups. One in particular does, it's called Hampstead Norreys, just north of Newbury. They put the word round each year. They've been coming to us for 4 years. Each year they put the word round. Apples are brought to the village store, job lot to us. We put their name and logo on the label, we discount the cost, they sell it back through the shop, make £1 a bottle margin from that which would otherwise have gone to waste. So schools can do the same. Primary schools bring their apples to us, children, parents drop it in. And there was a primary teacher who said to me, as a project, it ticks every Ofsted box there is. It's local, it's eco, it's community, it's food, it's any curriculum link they want to make of it, and it earns a school or a charity money. And she couldn't name any other single project that hits all of those in one hit. We're very happy.
We went to Newbury Show and met Richard and his crew. And at the time I was running a small business back at home because I had affiliations with Swindon Borough Council and children that wouldn't go to school for lots of different reasons. So I started up with Swindon Borough Council in partnership. A small group of children came out to the farm and developed their emotional well-being with horses, with anything around the farm, with the food that we grow. So one of the things they did was to feed apples to the horses, but they picked all the apples and they brought them down here and came to see Richard. And then they all took apple juice home. So because I no longer do that with the young people, we actually have a family day picking apples on the farm. So that's what happened last Saturday, and our produce is we bought a couple of ton of apples now, and so we'll have all this apple juice made, I think, a little into cider for my husband. That's the first time we're doing that, and into bottles of apple juice, and our grandchildren love it and all want to take it home and drink it every time they come.
So here you've just got a selection of English apples. There are 4,000 recognised varieties of apples in the UK, and here you've probably got 15, 20 different varieties. But the range of apples is just phenomenal, and the tastes. And you have apples that have been developed in particular counties by particular gardeners over the last 150 years. But you've got Bramleys, you've got Discoveries, late Discoveries, you've got Worcesters, Pearmains, a whole range of apples here. But some of these apples are huge, delicious. This lot we'll be pressing on Monday and Tuesday, hopefully, on our trailer.
Yeah, we've known Richard for about 7 or 8 years, and he introduced himself when he came to our village, Bishopstone, to collect our apples, and apples not just from the garden but from the hedgerows and everywhere else that we picked them. We're farmers in Bishopstone, and we knew that we weren't using our fruit properly because we don't have the resources to do it. We're too busy doing other stuff. And so the village brings their fruit to me. I send out my lovely, lovely, lovely farm labour and pub labour to go and collect the stuff from the hedgerows as well. And every year I bring back 500 bottles of something, and it's fantastic.
And then this lot, what's on the table?
Right, so this here is the bladder press, which instead of pushing downwards like a lot of people would think, it will press outwards. It will fill with water from the tank over here. So water will be sucked up from here in the tank. Eventually push it all the way out till it reaches the maximum capacity where the pressure is let out through the bottom. And then when it's time, when all the juices come out, we'll let that pressure out and the water out with it through the exit hole, which takes it back into the original tank. So the water's keep.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
No worries.
Beautiful.
Nailed it. Not much juice in there. No. Now this is a really efficient process.
I saw your leaflet in Kintbury. That's the first time I came, and I was sick of the wastage of the apples. Really, I was throwing away at least 4 wheelie bins worth of.
And how many
apples.
trees you got?
Only one tree.
Just one tree?
One tree.
4 wheelie bins?
Yeah. And that's not all of, that's 4 containers now, and that's not even, I've already been throwing a lot away, but I was on holiday. But everybody that I've given my apple juice to says it's the best apple juice they've ever had. That's why I keep coming back.
The apple pressing season goes longer than people realise, from the mid to the end of July through to mid-December. We have actually been pressing sometimes into January. There are 4,000 varieties of apples in the UK, which obviously are going to come good at different times. The peak is September, October, November. Mid-October, Apple Day, 21st of October, is traditionally the peak. This year I think we may come a bit before it. So our main activity as a business is pressing apples for other people who come, individuals, groups, or donations through to food banks through this period. When it comes to December, the model we've developed to try and keep income going through for the rest of the year is in December we buy in buckets, bins of apples from Herefordshire of different varieties. So we have different combinations which we could then sell at markets or through local stores or local pubs through the rest of the year. And what we've got here is some examples. So the mainstay is what we call a medium apple. That'll be 2/3 eating, 1/3 cooker. Bit of an edge, lovely taste. A lot of people really do like sharper apple juice made from just purely from Bramley. And I call that wake up juice. It's really good for breakfast with a fizzy water. Good for marinating pork as well. Pears on their own are a bit sweet and gloopy. They don't work so well. They're not acidic enough to pasteurise. So we have a 60% pear, 40% apple mix, which we call Pepple Juice. Titter, titter. Yes. What else we got then? We've got, so I was talking about earlier about Discovery. So we do a specific press of Discovery apples. Lovely, tastes as it eats. What else do we do? In June, when the elderflower blossom is all around, I get picking and we make our own elderflower cordial, which goes very well. That works with flat water, fizzy water, under Prosecco or in gin and tonic. Drizzle cake, as you like. In August, one of the other contracts we do begin to do pressing for other people. There's an orchard down in the Isle of Wight who grow cherries. The cherries that split or don't quite good enough to sell as cherries, they bring to us, having taken the stones out, and they make cherry juice. Without fear or favour, it's very good for gout. We don't make cider ourselves. My landlord and neighbour, he makes a lot of cider, but what we do is we make apple cider vinegar, raw, with mother, unpasteurised, and the suggestion is a teaspoon a day and everything works. Apple cider vinegar is coming back into fashion at a great rate of knots. I talked about earlier about stone fruit. Well, people can bring us their own damsons or plums, and we can steam out their own damson or plum cordial. And some people, again, have more fruit than they suddenly realise they need back as cordial, so very kindly let us make some for ourselves. Then there's another one in a gift pack we do, that's medium, that's a sharper. We do a spiced apple. Either can have it warm in the winter or cold in the summer. It's fabulous. And it says on the bottom of the label, it's non-alcoholic unless you add some. But it's really good. We've got cinnamon, star anise, allspice, ginger and cloves. That sells very well all the year round. Now, we make mainly in bottles, half litre for these, or 75 centilitre. But what also goes very well is in pouches. This is a bit like a bag in a box without the box. So what you do is you then squeeze it, let the juice flow out, and the bag shrinks so no air comes in. So once you tap into this, it's good for 6 to 8 weeks. It's better than if you open a bottle, you're committed, you've got to drink it within 3 or 4 days. And we also do that idea further in 5 litre bag and box or other sizes as well. So that's our range. And then that we sell from January through to July, all the year around, but mainly January through to July. And then the other thing, after Christmas, I offer an apple pruning service. All my customers have apple trees. They want them to be healthy and productive. I certainly want them to be healthy and productive. So much to the chagrin of some of my partner Sally, who helps run this business, without it wouldn't really run. I climb trees like a teenager and get paid for it. So she's a bit wary when I get too high and far, but it's very satisfying. And a badly pruned tree is pollarded, doesn't work. But if you prune it carefully, you ensure that you still get fruit every year, and that keeps me happy and my customers happy. So that's our year. We go around August pressing to Christmas, press for ourselves, and then pruning and selling, and start again next August.
So the majority of our customers like to have their house name on the label, such as this one. That's with a little illustration that we did of a bough of apples. But then some customers like to have a picture, either their picture of their house sometimes, or this particular one, Oak Track Small Holding, is a lovely little small holding that sells the juice on as a fundraising effort, and we particularly like to help them. A mix and match really of our own labels and the customers' artwork.
Everything you need is right in front of you, when you learn to see. Good things come to you. All you have to do is stop and take a look around.